So we're going to get into this message today. I'm going to do my 3-card spread and we're going to build from there. We're going to start with the Holy Grail. So we'll see how this goes. But I just want to affirm that I am grateful for my abilities, for the vision that I am meant to connect with. I hope I just connect with the messaging and that I allow for the transcendence in my words to continue to support me to higher understanding. Wow. One more card from the Spirit. Immediately I was getting like communication that you had to deliver, that you felt was balanced and allowed for there to be a win-win, which also addressed the sovereignty but also addressed the tolerance that you will not take when it comes to crossing your boundaries, because initially I'm seeing a win-win, which to me talks about how you have a vested interest, or you have to navigate the pressures of understanding the consequences that come from not having that sort of amicable outcome, whether that's actually feasible or not. And then also addressing the sovereignty, the royalty that you've acquired, that allows you to pardon those who know not what they do, and for they cannot truly see who you are. And last but not least, what we won't tolerate in regards to crossing boundaries, right? These are all forms of communication that we had to embody and acknowledge. So let's read win-win. Win-win strides boldly into your life, claiming your full attention. You are being gifted with the opportunity to create agreements, negotiations, work environments, etc., where everyone wins. This ideal outcome is achieved when the focus is turned from win-lose, where the needs of some are served above the needs of all, to win-win, where everyone's needs are woven into the synthesis that serves all. Do you understand? Like, that's what I think some of us are recognizing, that if you were being offered opportunities that were like already showing signs of like, yeah, but there is a way for you to go about this and handle this that also has my best interest at heart. So you're also evaluating those around you on their ability to do that work because you were giving them that respect, right? And so you would expect that, you wouldn't expect, but the balance would be that is reciprocated if that's what's given. So these are all things to really pay attention to, like people who don't establish just naturally win-win situations, right? Our current cultural paradigm is one of win-lose. Those who are the majority win, and those who have an equally valid voice who are in the minority lose. This is a hierarchical, top-down model of beingness and behavior that ensures competition and inequality. It also furthers the belief of scarcity. Only a chosen few can get what they need because there isn't enough to meet everyone's needs. Win-win philosophy is based on equality. It views everyone's needs as an essential part of the whole. Win-win replaces competition with cooperation and brings out the best in it for everyone. In win-win strategy, since everyone's needs are being met, everyone has a stake in the solution and is committed to making sure it works. Right? And so some of you were also recognizing that if you didn't have an opportunity to like put forward a solution to what was happening, that meant that you were not in a win-win situation, meaning like you were seeing situations where there was like really nothing you could do, which meant all the power was in someone else, which meant you'd have to reassess like the power dynamics, right? And so that's when you're also realizing like, wait, if I don't even have a stake in finding a solution, that probably means that I'm the person that's not benefiting from this partnership. So creating win-win is a whole systems approach that nourishes good, stable relationships, facilitates solutions in which equality prevails, and everyone's needs have a voice and a vote, emphasizes loving and peaceful communications, and de-escalates conflicts. Wow, you know what I mean? And I just feel like Spirit is bringing up this communication, right? Like, this isn't, I don't think this is even favorable communication, because communication is in the reverse, right? It's like the time when you have to be serious because you want to ensure, because the bot underneath that is play, right? We want to ensure that everyone has the right to truly play and prevail, right? Is winning not only everything, but the only thing of any worth to you? Have you clawed and bitten your way to the top, inherited or married a name, a dynasty, a position of authority, a voice of immense power, and fear that by changing your style you will lose out? Are you exhausted? Are you an exhausted lone wolf, preferring to travel fast, alone and independent, and doing everything yourself rather than fostering interdependence? The good news is that the age of Aquarius is upon us, and that means that none of us need to do it all ourselves. Key to the energy of Aquarius is group work. People working together for the good of the whole, sharing the workload in a healthy, supportive, and nourishing win-win way, right? So these are like the three. Yes. So I'm seeing the reason that you came to a decision to slice your sort of truth, meaning cut something out with your communication, was because when you look at your 3 checkpoints, it needs to be a win-win. I need to maintain sovereignty, and I need to be able to tolerate everything that's going on, meaning it doesn't cross my boundaries. Everything is in the upright except for tolerance, right? Which means that that's where this may have not checked out. This may have been what your High Priestess was really sniffing out. So let's go to sovereignty. The gauntlet is cast before you. The issues confronting you now are ones challenging your sovereignty, your authority and power on all different levels. They question your right to rule over your own domain, yourself. It is time to step completely into your power. Were you taught that powerful women are ugly and unwanted as romantic partners? Have you been brought up by your caretakers, religion, and culture in ways that have exiled you from your power? And it's so funny because just now I was thinking about my volume and how I keep like what I do in here sort of under wraps or like quiet because I don't, right? So this is where my power is, and this is the thing that's really going to come through for me in the end, which inevitably will be in the light either way. So just needing to really get comfortable there. Do you avoid taking responsibility for your actions because of a fear of never-ending criticism or blame or looking bad to others? Were your thoughts, ideas, questions, dreams invalidated because you were born a certain gender? Perhaps you've gone towards an extreme by becoming the best man for the job, imprisoning your natural need for sovereignty in a straitjacket, then conquering, pillaging, acquiring, annexing, and still you crave more. Whatever your dance with sovereignty is, it is time to heal your relationship with it and reach a balance that works for you and the rest of the world. Right use of power is a sign of psychological health and maturity. We are also healed and whole when we can stand in our power and then take responsibility for what we have wrought. The sooner you take back your power, the more you will learn about how to wield that power by the issues that show up in your life. By welcoming them all to dine at your table, choosing to learn what they each have to teach, you will become a shining example and resource for all, and the world will be a bit better for it. That's huge, you know? Needing to really feel like you're in a sovereign state regularly, you know? I think that just has so much to do with how we move about in the world. And then the last card that was in reverse, tolerant. You're being invited to move even closer to the divine and to live with tolerance, acceptance, and allowance in your life. Concepts that nourish life and connection with others. One way to begin this is to learn to be tolerant and accepting of yourself. Once that is accomplished, then you can extend that graciously to others. What is it inside yourself that you are having challenges accepting? Time to discover its name, and by naming anything, its power over you is broken. And treat it with love and acceptance. Is there a strongly held belief, something that you were taught to fear or find unacceptable from your childhood? Time to confront that fear and shed that childhood belief. It may have protected you in childhood, but now as an adult, it is getting in the way of your life. Perhaps intolerance has been a way of life for you because you are uneasy about the differences you perceive in others, differences of religious beliefs, customs, race, gender, sexual preferences, attitudes, tastes, etc. Time to celebrate diversity. The world would be a boring place indeed if everyone was exactly like you and vice versa. Differences abound and offer you opportunities for growth. You need not take the differences personally. They do not mean that you need to change your beliefs, only that you allow others to have theirs and learn to enjoy the plurality. And this is one thing I really want to say. I think this is also about some decisions, some karma is being paid where someone was intolerant of something, or someone's intolerance to things was reflecting some shadow aspects of themselves that they need to integrate. And I think that because someone was looking at you as the antithesis to them, meaning like your achievements undermine something about them, or are going to call them to have to make a change, or to change their beliefs, or that you existing invalidates who they are in some way. All of that is shadow integration work that really needs to be done. But for that experience and that expression, that person is now going to just have to go into a growth opportunity in a way to understand that differences abound and offer opportunities for all of our collective growth. And I think that not celebrating actual diversity is one of the number one ways we block ourselves from abundance. And so people just can't ask the divine why they haven't received certain things, when this is the intolerance that they stand in is the thing that kept this from being there's a lack of communication here, and it has to do with someone being intolerant, and then that's pretty much where it stands. Is there a particular someone whose presence in your life provokes strong emotionality? Time to discover what piece of yourself that person represents and to heal and hold it. One way of viewing the unacceptable is from the perspective of the divine. If the divine has created the world, then all things in it are divine and equally deserving of love and light. Whatever it is that you are reacting to and finding objectionable in others is something that is in yourself. It is being mirrored or projected onto others or situations so that you can heal it in yourself. Wanting peace for our world and our children and grandchildren means being willing to create a peaceful world by ending intolerance, by transforming your unacceptable places and improving your relations with others. You will notice the sweet healing of peace. By creating peace in your life, you create peace in the world. Yeah. Also has a lot to do with like people who do or don't want to choose peace, you know. Some people like have this tendency to want to choose this intolerance, but that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing that there was like this lack of communication that really caused, I'm seeing like a tower moment, but the root of the tower moment actually has everything to do with someone's intolerance. So super interesting. Let's go. Let's go, angels. Let's see what they have for us. freedom. I am always free to choose love, independence, and creativity. See, this is what I mean. So on win-win, the angel of freedom, who's saying the first red flag is that they have the freedom to choose a win-win, and to choose a win-lose would be a choice. So just remember that. So if you find yourself in a win-lose paradigm or in a situation where it feels very win-lose, these are the choices. And it has to do with the children. I honor the precious child within me. I nourish and cherish all new beginnings. See, it's an inner child wound that you're seeing that still perpetuate out into our experience. So let's talk about the sovereignty. Oh, wow. Power. The power of divine love protects and enfolds me, right? Sovereignty. Having the ability to govern over your own self, right? There's an abuse of power there, because it came out in the reverse, the angel of power, which says you don't have that divine protection and love. If you don't have sovereignty over yourself, you're forfeiting your protection and love, not allowing others to be sovereign beings. Again, the miracle of love. I am brought alive by the miracle of love. These people who are in the separation vibration, this is what's being healed. This is the shadow integration. This is why you can't banish your shadow. You have to love and integrate and accept it for what it teaches, and then figure out a way for it to play a role. It can't just be dormant, And then tolerance in the reverse. What is the angel message for the fickle, intolerant population? That's what I'm hearing. It's like shuffle. No. Wow. Being intolerant is a faith issue. These people don't have faith that goodness and joy are mine now and forever. You feel like you have to project or broadcast the indifferences, the part of yourself that you don't accept because you don't have faith that joy is there to stay. I'm almost hearing it's almost like you're casting out your own demons, or you're projecting out like the differences of other people because you don't think that you can keep these people make you feel insecure. You see something younger, shinier, newer, different. Like, this is where that conversation of like, are you going to be inspired by what God is giving you and showing you, or are you going to quite literally just be a child about it and really be insecure and jealous and block said understanding? What if that's your only way to the next level? Are you going to really tell God the answer is no because you're intolerant of the differences, because you think it undermines or makes you look outdated? 1818 I just saw makes you look outdated or makes you look like anything. Do you not have faith that goodness and joy are yours now and forever? Like, some of y'all really think there's like an expiration date. This has to do with what you were conditioned to believe, that sovereignty. Some of y'all were like taught very fucked up, botched understandings and definitions of what it means to be a sovereign being, and it affects your ability to perceive that your life is not just abundant from start to finish. There's not going to be a dip because you turned a certain age, or because you live in a certain area, because you work in a certain field. Like, you don't have an expiration date. Like, you don't have to be undermined by the change, anything, because you can be a part of it. You can take, so it has to do with people who didn't want to set up win-win situations in their conception, right? Because people didn't want real freedom for others. People wanted freedom for themselves, and they were scared that they were going to lose that freedom. Therefore, they result in some sort of intolerance that ultimately roots in some sort of systemic issue where you don't create win-win circumstances even though you have the option to. You have to abuse power in order to control the narrative of what it really means to be a sovereign being for other people. And ultimately, you are not receptive because you don't have faith that it'll stay abundant for you indefinitely. Therefore, you have to be intolerant of the things. You have to make good and bad in order to keep yourself on some illusion of like doing work or being relevant. You think that if you just make a paradigm that you will
define what's in and now and cool, and you can other people and not have to look at yourself. But ultimately, it's what's holding up your communication, not with external people, but with God, and that's why you don't get the keys to what you need at this time.
The bottom of the deck is Raphael. I am strengthened and healed by the power of divine love. Okay, and this is who's coming, because unfortunately it's not even unfortunately, this is shadow integration. You see, standing in his waters, standing in the pool of his own emotion, working with the shadow, working with the serpent, it's really and truly, it's everything, But I want to read this. This is the full, Raphael is here, and it's like, it's a full integration. Raphael is responsible for healing the earth and its inhabitants. He is credited with healing Abraham after he was circumcised, and is the angel who handed Moses a book of all the herbs which exist to heal maladies. The book of Tobias in the Old Testament relates how Raphael healed Tobias' father of blindness with an ointment made from the burned gallbladder of a large fish. Raphael is variously known as the overseer of evening winds, guardian of the tree of life in the Garden of Eden, angel of repentance, prayer, love, joy, and light. He is the angel of healing, science, and knowledge. He is also called the angel of providence, who watches over all of humanity. His name means divine healer, or God heals. Raphael is the spiritual source behind all cures, and as a messenger of divine providence, he brings healing to all who seek wholeness. He stands for the definitive, essential cure to all ills, which is the return to the source. Raphael assists us to heal our bodies, minds, and hearts. He helps us to achieve health and wholeness. He offers to help all who suffer and need healing, and whenever possible, alleviates pain. When we open our hearts to healing, Raphael guides us to the healers, therapists, and counselors who do their best to help us. As we take more responsibility for our own healing, he encourages the healer within each of us who knows what is best for our health and vitality. He can help us to see the healing lessons in illness and to understand what suffering can teach about ourselves. When we choose a healthy path, his spirit guides us to attain maximum health. As we transform our wounded minds, hearts, we come close to touching Raphael's wings and gaining access to his divine gifts. He is always available to guide us to wholeness and harmony. We need only wish it for ourselves. Hello. Angel of healing through joy. He can help us seek the gift of healing. He shows us ways to heal ourselves. He helps us find the healing in nature and universal energy. I just think that was like a really big call to action. Like for me personally, like I feel very connected to what God is really trying to show me here, and the path that I think I'm really here to walk, you know what I mean? Happy solstice. That's what I was going to say, happy solstice. So let's get some energy out. Well, first out is the Ten of Wands, the biggest magic trick, the biggest final boss. Being able to come in with your God strength and stop these hyenas from tarnishing your dream. It took strength to recognize that you were in a win-lose situation. These people are always free. Like, this doesn't create or promote freedom for all parties involved, and that's what you recognize. It's like jarring because it was something you were expecting, Three of Wands.
And it has to do with the Ten of Wands in reverse. Realizing that we weren't on path to cultivating any sort of magic trick. Again, the highs and lows of investment. The times where it was worth it, the times where they run off with the money, the times when the deal gets botched. All of it. What it means to be sovereign, what it means to really be in charge of your own investments of self. Sovereign being Two of Cups in reverse. This is the power dynamic. This is the imbalance. The Two of Cups reverse means that someone's cup is it's like an imbalance of mixing. Like, it's like you're dependent on someone else to keep refilling more of your cup instead of recognizing that you can go and get your own. You know, it's when partnership becomes like, oh, I think I can only get this here, versus like the actual ability to go get your own. I'm hearing. That's a big message, right? Some of y'all thought that deal was, wow, okay, Spirit just said to take all of these. But some of y'all thought that deal was somewhere you could only get it there, and that was the biggest lesson of this karmic cycle, is like you were learning, like, there's no such thing as it can only be got right here, there's only one possibility. No, you are the source. Things stem from you. You create in this endless now moment. So if that's the case, there's no such thing as you can only get it here. You can get it anywhere. It's you. What you're looking for is you, right? So this is why someone who is intolerant because they don't actually have faith that they're going to be relevant, look at this. It unraveled quickly. The opportunity had bad soil. This person is just bitter because they see people, they somehow think this Queen of is a bitch, right? The Queen of Swords in reverse is like, fuck off, you know what I mean, for no reason. And this is taking advantage of, and not really, kind of heartless and spineless, you know. Masking the predator. This is also saying like, oh, hey, Mr. Baboon, if you put on this mask, like, the predators won't come get you. The baboon's like, thank you so much for telling me to put on the mask, and then you're gonna eat the baboon the whole time because it thinks you're your friend. Like, that's what they were pulling, right? That's what this Queen of Swords with this bad roots, fake magic trick. There's no magic there. There's no source there. That's why this is dead, because even in the sun, it's the summer and it's a dead tree. You know? And look, this Knight of Cups in reverse was just going to reject you, right? And your emotional independence would have been intertwined. So you peeped game to all of this. All of this. You weren't going to let your divine feminine get eaten out by this jester, by this joke of an operation. So what did you do? You jumped into your divine inner child and you said, I'm not afraid of you because I've integrated my own shadow. And you're going to go on to heal and do for yourself, your own vision, because you are it. It will follow you wherever you go. There is no such thing as a bad situation here, but I feel that so deeply, like this whole botched operation, that you're just like, that's what I think about your intolerant, no faith having ass. And on a side note, what you were sacrificing was all on a mental objective plane. There wasn't anything real except for the inspiration you're going to get to write about what it was like facing these sort of demons on astral. Because this is not third dimensional. This is like a giant goblin. Like, we're not really seeing this, so it's like really, it's that sort of perceived blindness. Like, this isn't even real.
Wow, we just got deep in it, yay. Let's look at the information. I don't know, you know, these messages just kind of come out, so. Two pretty methods. standing in your value, being told to stay right here and just hold your value, because I think this is about getting in your vortex. You know what I mean? Like, if you've been stripped down to travel with just your royalties, just your most valuables, like, how do you accrue more? This is that awareness that I feel like Spirit was just talking about, how it's you, like, the money maker, the empire, the billionaire is you, and you will be the constant common thread through all of that experience. And when you really internalize that through that, like, last little sacrifice you just went through, right? Because remember, we talked about in the last video how she was upside down and she was like, something stinks. Yeah, well, yesterday, like, just to be completely transparent, like, there was a fake opportunity that was just like fraudulent and a waste of my time, and ultimately I had to just, like, for my own peace of mind and dignity, just like rescind every, like, just cut that cord completely. And realistically, it was teaching me that stillness and standing in the value of who I am will bring in something that was going to come to me on this day at this time anyways, regardless of how I was kicking and screaming and flailing. So you can go on to whatever to distract yourself, but whatever God feels is in alignment to you and is going to actually bring will be and will come. And that's why she's up right now, because all you really had to do the whole time was just stand in your value, which I've been doing, you know what I mean? I have certainly been doing this. I have certainly been, even with the minor, like, movements and fake thinking that something is coming, fake illusions have definitely come and maybe consumed me, but nothing too deep to where it's like we can detach and move on. Because really, like, I've been, in this time of really developing my value, I've just been connecting and learning to love myself more. I hope that translates in the way that I accept myself through these videos and through this series and through this experiment and through this, because the end goal is the message spreading. Like, that's going to be the effectiveness of this. That's what we're going to determine. And I feel like the high priestess was trying to say, like, this whole time, like, really all you ever had to do was just stand and hold all your pearls and just wait for whatever this internal value is to reflect again. And by wait, I just mean cultivate and continue to grow what you do have, while, you know, your intrinsic value aligns. And then there's the literal fool. Oh my goodness. You're going to be starting a new beginning. Something is coming in, and I feel like it has to do with this Cancer new moon. It's going to be a feeling like, it's going to be that you jumped off the ledge and you let it go, and you really chose to be weightless, you know. I also think it's important that because you can actually, this sovereignty is actually rooted down in, like, you can kind of do some crazy shit now that you know, like, oh, I'm the value. Well, if I'm the value, I can jump into this ocean right now, wash up to a completely random shore, and start anew, and still have the same value. What if I did that, you know? You can really start to play with your power. Or if you're someone who's really struggled with abuses of power, one way to take that power back is to really radically say, like, I'm the value. Like, if I had none of this stuff, it wouldn't matter, because I would naturally regenerate whatever my actual value and worth I put into myself. And through all these moon cycles, you are realizing what's uncovered is, like, I mean, that's all that it was really getting you close to. I mean, also God's will is going to just play out. So there's that. The destiny that's for you is going to play out. There's no question about it, you know. There's no question about that, you know. So it's interesting. Thank you, Spirit. Oh my God. And here they come. Here they come. Here comes the balance. But it's almost like you had to do the jump first. This is where you go. Okay, this is the story. This is the story. And let me look at the bottom of the deck. I'm showing you first. This is the, oh my God, the world. This is the gift you get, right? This is the gift you get. The accolade, the trophy that you get for what you've completed. So here's the story. You get shaked loose of nothing but your valuable, very, very light. Like, you've been reduced to the things, the bare necessities. And like a hawk, you can try to strategize this whole time about how you're going to get your chain unlinked, But the reality is, whoever has the key to this is going to unlock it or not unlock it whenever they feel like it. And it may have nothing to correlate with what's going on in your head. So just so that you're aware that all that is happening, you're intrinsically starting to understand what the value is of the core things that you still have with you. And as you're developing and training this sense of value as you erode through mental fallacies and illusions, you recognize, in the most radical sense of the way, the best way to take back your power is to say, okay, but even the 4 pentacles I have are just reflections of the most valuable aspects of me. They're extensions of this energy. And so I could even lose that and still, remember when I just said I could jump off this cliff, wash up to a different shore, and I would still be worth the same thing. The abuse of power has only been able to control us as long as we didn't know that. As long as we didn't know that, like, you are the extension of the energy. So take a look around. That's your own energy, right? And so this fool recognizes, like, I'm gonna leave my sack of money right here. Like, you can make these types of sacrifices and really cash out big. And it comes from recognizing a botched operation where there is no faith, no God, and no, like, you would just be up for the chopping block, and you can just say, because it's all theoretical anyways, you know, no magic can really happen. There's nothing really scary there because you have faith and you are a tolerant human being. And so this is you when you wash up to a new shore, you move to a new land, and it might feel like you're having humble beginnings where God is putting you, like, on a street corner, and you're like, okay, God, so this is the big payout, going on this whole spiritual journey, and the big payout is that I'm going to be on the corner playing my violin. What was the point? And Spirit's like, well, the point is someone's going to walk up to you and do this and change. That's guaranteed for you, because this is not seen. This is an intangible. This is representative of what this was. This is the sacrificing of this for this. You know, you can be exalted because you can do it again and again and again and again and again, and you can be reborn again and again and again, and you will always find that this will find you. Your value will always find you. And so you're learning. So that was just the final trick. The 10 of Wands was, I'm gonna botch the whole operation. I'm gonna walk away from everything, which is really just an emotion. Cut the communication, cut the cord, because the truth is, I'm going to jump in just like this. This time I can jump in with none of my stuff and not be freaking out the whole time and think I won't make it to another shore, because I already did it. I already washed up to another shore, and I already had to start over again, and so I already have the blueprint about what to do when this happens. When I get to another shore, I can always be sure that just like clockwork, just like the cycles, this will come again. Even when I feel like I don't even feel my most attractive, you know, it's still rushing to me. Rushing to me. See that one in there? And it's right here for me to come and grab, you know? And the pain just lets me know, like, yeah, I know that's the pain over there. So then in the end, it's all really helpful information. You know what painful spaces look like. They're, like, locked away, hidden. Like, I feel like there's an energy, too, about that, you know? You're no longer reaching into the water to help pull someone up that jumped in, that doesn't want to be helped. They don't want you around here, you know? Be free in that. Be renewed in that. Feel the sovereignty and the liberty and being renewed that they don't want your help, and that you now can just be free to trust that everybody that's meant to be on your path is, like, laid out on your path, and that you're just going to be able to open up to those experiences and people that you already do have, you know? Your ships continue to come in. The celebrations continue to come in. The karma continues to flood in. I mean, you know. That's a mental death. That's the way something has been deadened, you know, and it's taking temperance to rebalance these waters. But it's ultimately the best judgment call. Because the true clowns, you know what I mean? You're left with your own energy, But anyhow. either case, it's fabulous. Just fabulous. Let's see. Peace. We'll end with another piece. The sun, the solstice, the solstice. Ace of Discs. I have a feeling it's coming in with this solstice. There was something that was always just going to be time for the solstice. It didn't really matter what you were spending your time trying to do, because what I was reading for was for the thing that was always on track. That was always just going to come in and have its process, but you could fill your time with whatever. It's coming to the Daughter of Discs. This is what you look like in your sun palette. It's so hot, but it's so beautiful. Like, I feel like we need this solar flare. Yeah, look at this. I feel like we need it. Like, I feel like Three of Wands, it's what we need. What she can anticipate. The Daughter of Discs is like a champion of the sun. She's attuned to the sun. She's fearless. The Daughter of Discs is like awaiting her ace. Awaiting her ace from the sun. Oh my god! Oh my god! Well, as I said, awaiting her ace, this Ace of Discs jumps back out. And with it comes the Son of Wands. Look at this. Exactly. We're finishing on this energy. You've been praying and staying and attuning the chakras and staying in the healing and staying in the healing and staying in the healing. But don't worry, because today's the first day of summer, baby. Like, it's the summer. Because once the summer hits, it's like in comes what was ready for this cycle for you to grow and expand. And you will have appreciated every moment that you spent in introspection, because you are now attuned to the frequency to carry this new beginning, this new disc, this new idea, this new creation, you know, that comes with a beautiful partnership that is alive, that is focused on magic and spirit, you know. There's a grounding. One is bringing the divine feminine is bringing in a physical manifestation, and the divine masculine is really bringing in the spirit of that manifestation. And so they work in union. But this is the child. This is the child. This is the birth of the creation that these two have conjured up. Daughter of Discs, so the divine feminine has supplied the physical manifestation or the idea, and the Son of Wands has come in and provided the spirit, and there it is, you know. Under this solstice, you know what I mean? It's a new reality. They've birthed a new reality, where they're like, this is luxury living, you know what I mean? Ultimately is what I see. Bottom of the disc. Again, this is what I talked about, like that waiting for the external world to reflect what's internal. There's always work to be done. There's always work to be done, but yeah, coming out of this mental plane and this mental reddening of a previous spiritual consciousness, and really basking in the sun card is such a beautiful energy for today's solstice. I'm just super grateful. So that is the message for today. I hope we all have a great summer solstice, and let's get it going.